Так, ну все. Мы продолжаем. Сейчас кое-какие окна сверну. Так, все отлично. Угу. Остановились мы на том месте, когда нам нужно было помочь вот этому старику. Мы как бы знали, что это карта, но может Том подскажет как-то нам в разгадке этой карты.
It was a shield on which heraldic symbols had been painted. The scroll beneath the shield read Puicharda. The scroll below the shield read Girona. The scroll under the shield read El Pont de Suert. The scroll below the shield read Tremp. The scroll beneath the shield read Figueres. The scroll under the shield read Olot.
Так, что-то не хочешь...
The scroll below the shield read Berga.
Berga.
It was a collection of what could only be described as stuff. There was a piece of stone on the ground. It looked like a discarded statue.
Так, мы что-то типа подобрали интересное. Так. Ковер не хочешь посмотреть? Нет, не хочется.
There was a crate of brandy amongst all the mess. The bookcase held an assortment of ancient books. The stone fireplace was old and dusty. It looked like it had lain undisturbed for decades. Carved into the fireplace was a young man holding an orb. The halo reminded me of the figure in the clouds in La Maledizio.
Точно, это же как эти две статуи.
An old man with a beard was carved into the front of the fireplace. It was very like one of the figures in La Maledizio.
Может быть, ниже в подвале что-то скрыто.
It was a circular stained glass window. Senor Marquez? When were you last here, senor?
Not since that day when my father was killed.
So why did the painting bring us here?
As I said, because only here in this room will its clues become clear.
I found this.
It looks like one of my father's statues. He collected ancient carvings.
Senor, can you decipher any of the painting?
The Tower of Saints, of course. I knew it was a castell. And the saints themselves are Gnostic. You see the woman in red?
The one you marked in the photo?
She is Mary Magdalene. We revere her as Christ's greatest disciple. The rest, I don't know.
The symbol on the face, it is obviously the tabula.
But the elements around it, I don't know.
Why is the tabula veritatis so important to the Gnostics?
It is an object of immense power. My ancestors kept it safe for hundreds of years. They brought it to Catalonia as exiles long ago. In any generation, only one Gnostic knows its exact location. My father, Xavier, was the last of these. He knew dark forces were gathering, but I was too young to learn the secret. So he commissioned La Malédiction, embedding clues to the location of the tabula within the painting.
But what is the tabula? What does it do?
I do not know. I know only that in the wrong hands it would be catastrophic for mankind.
Why would a Dominican priest, Father Simeon, describe the Gnostics as evil?
That order was founded specifically to fight heresy and to eradicate Gnosticism. Behind their backs, the Dominicans were nicknamed the Dominicanes, or Hounds of God. For years, these dogs hunted down and butchered my people. They called us heretics, but in truth, they sought to find and seize the tabula.
So Eva is your daughter?
She was a gift from God, late in my life. One day she will find room for Gnosticism in her heart. I am sure of it.
What happened back in Paris? We thought you were dead.
A man came to the apartment looking for Miss Collard. He mentioned a stolen painting owned by a Russian. Obviously, I informed him that I was the true owner.
Obviously.
Next thing I knew, this thug had me pinned to a chair and was threatening to shoot me. So I told him of the castell, and while he telephoned his boss, I hit him with the little China dog.
Guess he didn't know you were the pugnacious type. I think this is yours.
My medallion? Where did you find it?
It was left in Nico's neighbor's apartment. Do you want it back?
No, you keep it for now. It has a meaning, a purpose. Perhaps you can find out what.
Sure. Just let me know if you ever want it back. Take a look at this sketch.
It is the face in La Malédiction.
It was drawn by the man who restored the painting.
Then he knew of the Tabula Veritatis. What other secrets did he uncover?
I don't know, but he's dead now.
Just as well. The fewer that know the secrets of La Malédiction, the better.
So this is you with your mother and father?
Indeed, taken in this very building many years ago.
Is this one of Nico's photographs of the robbery?
Yes, she gave it to me.
And did you write these notes on it?
Yes, I was trying to solve part of the painting.
Solve?
I never knew what lay in that portion of La Malediccio. The photograph you have of my family, this part of the painting was missing. But once I saw the Tower of Saints, I knew I had to come here. Just as you did, senor.
Father Simeon, the Dominican priest, was carrying these papers when he was killed.
So?
You're not interested in him?
I have no interest in priests or their papers, senor. We must find the answer.
Excuse me? I'll leave you to it then. Ramon sure was a little light in the charm department.
So, until you came here, you knew nothing about the Castel?
Didn't know, wasn't interested. I better get back on guard in case anyone else shows up.
Your father needs our help, Eva.
My father needs rest, peace, and quiet. Not more of this Gnostic nonsense.
So, what did you find out?
Not a lot. Eva thinks her father's losing it. She doesn't have much time for Gnosticism. She's never been here before. In fact, Marquez never even talked about the place. As far as I can tell, she and her father never got on. She left home the moment she could.
I don't blame her. So, why is she here now?
Marquez begged her, said he was in danger. I guess maybe I'll go inside and have a look around too.
Tell me if you find anything. I'm not having much luck so far. The fountain had stopped working long ago. It was an old, weathered sundial. From the dial, I could see that the main doors of the house faced north. The wind chime was made from old tin cans and other rubbish.
Все вроде.
Hello, Eva.
Signor Stobart.
Please, call me George.
I'd rather not. When are you and your girlfriend leaving?
Actually, she's not my girlfriend.
I don't know what your scam is, Signor. You may have fooled my father, but you don't fool me.
Well, I can sure see where you get your manners from. Tell me about your father.
When my mother died, he brought me up.
As a Gnostic?
He tried to teach me that stuff, said I had a religious vocation. Turns out I didn't. On my 18th birthday, I left home and never went back.
Tell me about Ramon.
Apparently he worked here when he was a boy. A loyal servant, even though the family left and never came back. More fool him.
He's got an interesting line in burps.
You should feel privileged.
Really?
It means he likes you.
Tell me about yourself.
I left home as soon as I could, lived a bit, and now I own a bar in Marseille.
That explains why you know how to use a gun.
No, senor. I learned how to use a gun so I could get rid of vermin.
Eva was a real charmer. What do you know about La Malediccio?
My father has been obsessed by it all his life. He thinks it's full of secret messages. I think it's a crock of
Sure you do. Nico tells me you don't really know about Gnosticism.
Don't know, don't care. And I don't need saints and gods telling me how to live my life.
I can see why you and your father don't get along. So, you don't know anything about Gnostics?
They're a religious sect. They belong in the past. My father's obsessed with them, and that's all I know.
What do you make of this?
They're sketches of my father's painting.
The artist paid for the knowledge with his life.
Figures. That painting brings bad luck to everyone who gets near it.
This is your family, right?
Looks like it.
Do you recognize this?
It's my father's medallion. He said he lost it.
Yeah, he left it in Paris. Do you know anything about it?
When I was a kid, he never let it out of his sight.
Your father scribbled some notes on this photograph.
So, we have the painting. What do you need a bad photograph for?
Do you know anything about this statue?
I've seen a few of them lying around. I guess the fascists smashed them up in the war.
Any more thoughts on the statues?
They're just old stones.
Any more thoughts on the statues?
They're just...
Here, these are for you.
I hate flowers.
I should have guessed that. I have this aftershave. What do you think?
I think you should keep it to yourself.
Senor Marquez?
We must.
То же самое, наверное, скажет.
Found anything?
Not yet. Just wondering what's through this door.
There were spent bullet casings lying amongst the rubble. What exactly happened here? There were spent bullet casings lying.
What is that?
It's an old statue. I think it might help to code the painting.
I'll take a look. Maybe I can help. This door's locked anyway.
The door was locked. That wouldn't have worked. It looked like this part of the castell had taken some damage. The end of the passage was blocked off with rubble. What are you thinking, Nico?
The fireplace. It looks familiar.
You're right. You know what?
In Marquez's photo, his family was standing in front of it.
The photo was of the Marquez family. On the fireplace behind them were two identical statues.
Хорошо, что я посмотрел, две статуи стоят, в общем, одна.
I had to get closer before trying that. Marquez said that the painting contained clues only a Gnostic could solve. But when it was back in this room, all would become clear. I couldn't put...
Оба. Их еще крутить надо.
The painting held... The Tower of Saints had led us to the Castel. I wondered where the other clues would take us.
Так, ну тут слегка зеленовато, а тут синеватый слегка. Может, это тоже подсказка? Какая-то попробуем вот так сделать. Хотя у меня так и было, что ли. Блин. Такой мужчина с бородой.
The painting...
Похож на вот этого.
The blue statue was missing its head. Only his robes and sandaled feet remained. It resembled the statues in Marquez's family photo. The green stone figure was barefoot and wearing a hat. Like the other one, this looked a lot like the statues in Marquez's family photograph. The green stone figure was barefoot and wearing a hat. The painting held...
Босая в шляпе.
The blue statue was missing its head. Only his robe. It was the lower half of a green, barefooted statue. A third one resembling the ornaments in the family photograph. The blue-colored statue was robed with a bald head and bare feet. 4 statues, but only 2 belonged to the mantelpiece. The blue-colored statue was robed with a bald head and bare feet. La Maledizio, back in its right. But what were the clues? The painting.
Эти с волосами.
The paint. The blue statue was missing its head. Only his robes and sandaled feet remained. The painting. The stone fireplace was old and dusty. It was an ornate tree carved in bas-relief. There was no fuel to light in the fireplace, just dust and a few spiders. That was never. That was almost. That was. That wouldn't work. It was just. The bookcase held an assortment of ancient books. Hey, Nico.
We may not have a lot of time, you know. Medovsky could be here any minute.
There was no way I was going near that goat again. Hey, Eva.
Senor,
Anything else about the painting you can tell me?
my father says it has a special connection with this house. From where I stand, this house is a place of murder and violence, which is why I want nothing to do with it.
Any more thoughts on the statue?
They're just old stones.
Senor Marquez? Anything else about the painting I should know?
I keep telling you, I don't know.
Do you think the Tabula Veritatis was hidden here?
Perhaps. Who knows?
Nico and I are risking our lives for you. You really can't tell us any more?
Truly, I do not know.
So, you're the good guys?
Good and evil are meaningless terms. We strive simply to maintain balance and keep the tabula from those who seek to exploit it for their own ends.
Eva isn't a Gnostic?
As a child, she was shown the truth that is Gnosticism, but she has not chosen its path.
I found this.
I remember this from my childhood.
Так, надо все-таки...
You should get back to it.
Я чуть посмотрел статуи, а какие статуи? Да, они в разные стороны смотрят. Мгм. Один правую руку, другой или тоже правую. Сейчас попробуем теорию.
The Maledizio, back in its rightful place. But what were the clues?
Зачем их крутить надо, я не знаю.
The statues were facing outward, just like in the Marquez photo. I waited with bated breath for something to happen. Nothing.
Вот блин, вот трололошники Санина. Я уже подумал, что сейчас, вот она. Так, подождите-ка, а может покрутить что-нибудь там? Ну, единственное вот это такое. Бесполезно.
That wouldn't make any sense. So, just like Hobbes, Marquez had circled one of the figures and written Judas. I wondered if he was identifying him as Judas Iscariot. Back in Bible class, Judas was definitely one of the bad guys.
Так, а у нас где-то было Иуда тут.
The scroll below the shield read Berga. The scroll below the scroll the scroll the scroll beneath the scroll below the shield read Gerona.
Нет, нет.
La Maledizio, back in its right. But what were the clues? On the fireplace behind them were two identical statues. Finally, La Malediccio was back in its rightful place. I needed a better idea. That wouldn't make any sense. I needed a better idea. That was almost a great idea. Nope, I needed to.
А, тут, кстати, есть подсказки. Можем.
I couldn't put another statue there.
Так, ну 2 статуи определенно тут стояли. Чего их 4?
The Maledizier. But the plinths,
Да тихо ты.
the plinths looked like they could be rotated.
Крутить и вертеть можешь. Может, дверь открылась, нет?
The door was locked. That wouldn't work. I only had a few matches. Using one now probably wasn't a good idea. I only had a... I fed Trevor a crumb. He loved that biscuit. Never in a month. Well, it seems not a sn- It. They didn't. An empty crate of fine brandy.
Так, ну я вроде все тут обшарил. Что еще тут?
The statues on the plinth were the same as the ones in the Marquez family photograph.
Это что, дрочить вот так вот каждую? Ну, господи, ну ладно, будем. Надеюсь, тут от статуи не зависит ничего. Оба.
Ah, what is this? A staircase. I never knew. We must go up. We don't have much time. Stairs. Always stairs.
Oh my God, look at this.
George? George! What's this? A piece of burnt paper with the word Wolfram. That sounds familiar.
Wolfram. I curse that name forever.
What do you know about Wolfram, senor?
Wolfram. I spit on the name.
So you have lived here for a long time?
All my life. My father served here before me. In fact, he named me after Senor Xavier's favorite saint. Saint Ramon, patron saint of the falsely accused.
That's nice.
Not really. The Moors put a padlock through his mouth.
Oh, I see. Well, I guess there's a lesson there for all of us. What is Wolfram?
It was a mining company, run by a murdering swine called Gainen. In the Civil War, they backed the fascists. In return, Gainen was given soldiers to do his dirty work. They came here, brought their bloody war to this house, and killed Senor Xavier.
They shot Xavier? Senor Marquez's father?
I was just a boy, but I remember like it was yesterday. Shot him and his friend Hernandez, like animals.
Why did they come here?
They were searching for something, but they brought death with them. But there is one thing I have never understood. Xavier tried to escape through the library. But the library windows are barred. It is a dead end.
This Kenan, who was he?
He was Swiss, a businessman, and a murdering swine.
So what did he want here?
I don't know. When he wasn't torturing the locals, he disappeared to the library. Spent weeks in there, making notes and studying maps. His men, they crossed the whole of Catalonia searching for something.
Did they find it?
Who knows? One day, Gainen just disappeared. He never came back. An accident, perhaps, in the mountains. May his soul rot in hell. The soldiers didn't stay long to search for him. They hated him too.
The name Genan was familiar. He was the person who had tried to buy La Maledicción. A coincidence? Perhaps.
There is no such thing as coincidence.
So, when the soldiers left, you took back the house?
Yes. A few years later I returned and cleaned the place up. It broke my heart. I locked the library. I could not bear to touch Gainen's papers.
Can I have a look at the library?
No. I have kept it locked to honor the memory of Senor Xavier.
Please, this is important.
I lost the key.
You lost it?
That evening when I locked it up, I drank to the memory of Senor Xavier. The cellars were well stocked, Senora. It was a long night. I hid the key, then forgot where I hid it, so it is lost. That was all that was left in the morning. I haven't touched a drop since.
Пипец.
I needed to find out what Ganon had been working on in that library.
Ну, правильно. Что у нее должно быть у девушки в инвентаре? Швабра. У телефон-то, конечно, должен быть. Швабра должна только быть.
An intricate mosaic adorned the floor. The plants at least were thriving in the rubble. The internal courtyard had been beautiful once. Even overgrown like this, it had a serenity. The door was locked. I had to find the key. I wondered where Ramon could have hidden it.
Ту же ночь он выпил, понятно.
The door was... I had to find the key. The castle was vast, but most of it was now inaccessible.
Ну, я думаю, он по крышам-то не полез после этого.
The bookcase held old Catalan books. I wouldn't be able to read them. The hall had collections of old items everywhere. Ramon claimed he had tidied the place up.
Ну, правильно. У Джорджа написано хлам, у нее беспорядок. Книги это у всех книги.
There was a row of shields displaying heraldic symbols. The scroll under the shield read Berga. The scroll below the shield read Figueras. The scroll under the shield read... The scroll beneath the shield read El Pont de Suet. The scroll under the shield read... I decided to leave the painting for later. Two large figures framed the fire. George, are you there? The grate had locked back into place. According to the sundial, it was mid-afternoonish. Eva, I am glad your father is safe.
He's old and foolish. He shouldn't be here, but he wouldn't listen to me. I suppose he's still going on about that painting.
Well, yes. In fact, we decoded it.
You did?
Yes, we found a secret passage behind the fireplace.
What?
Your father and Georges went in.
What? That's ridiculous. He's an old man.
Don't worry, Georges knows what he's doing. So he always tells me anyway. Your father is looking very frail.
He's old, and he could do without people giving him the runaround chasing lost treasure.
Have you ever been inside the library?
No, I'm told it is locked.
The key is lost. Ramon says he hid it years ago and cannot remember where.
Shame.
Can you think of anywhere Ramon might have hidden the key?
What do you think I am, psychic?
Seen anything suspicious?
Apart from you and your American boyfriend, no.
He's not my boyfriend, you know.
Whatever.
I didn't think she'd be interested. Talk to you later.
Да, ей как-то похер на все.
The fountain had dried up long ago.
Да, скорее всего, надо искать вот где-то вот в этом месте, где бутылки там. Напился, потерял в машине, наверное. Уснул и закатился куда-нибудь.
The goat had been tethered. Seemed unnecessary. The gentle animal wouldn't have harmed a soul. Hello, little one.
Че, правда?
A heap of old brandy bottles. Ramon must have been in the car on that night all those years ago.
Хорошо, он... Это... Упомянул их.
A 5D71. Extraordinary. The dashboard seemed intact, but this old family car would never drive again.
Да, похоже, у него проблемы.
The floor of the car was littered with keys from
Козлами у
sardine
Джорджа.
cans.
Потому что Нико, блин, без проблем прошла так.
An old pair of
Ботинки.
shoes. In amongst the rubbish on the car floor was an old brandy bottle. The inside of the car was in a bad state. I picked up what looked like an old diary. It was Ramon's. The library will forever be a shrine. No one will enter. I shall hide the key in a safe place. Once I've eaten. I have just what I need and know what to do. Oh, beautiful lady, your eyes are so blue. I just can't stop thinking of you. Ramon was quite the budding poet. Our lives are entwined like ivy on a tree. That is what you mean to me. Nice. Hey, I was reading that. Someone had been sleeping in the car, but long, long ago.
Так, ну все, я думаю, тут. Кто-то книгу упер.
Have you no respect for great art? Pretty indigestible, huh? A pile of old... Looked like the goat had been eating lots of them.
Так. Ну что, проходи, не?
The goat had been tethered.
А, подожди. Голубые глаза, может, у него?
No, that wouldn't be good for the goat.
Она только его гладит.
Aren't goats cute? I do wonder why Georges has such an aversion to these noble creatures. Aren't goats cute? An old apple tree provided shade. Shame that the goat's rope wasn't long enough for him to enjoy it. The mountains of Catalonia, breath. The garden was now the fountain had according to the sundial, it was mid-afternoonish.
Вот это унес книгу, а? Съел, что ли?
An old pair of shoes. An old... The inside of the car was in a bad state. The dashboard seemed intact, but this old family car would never drive again. It was never going... Tin can keys. Someone... That wouldn't happen. That wasn't worth trying. No. I need... No. That wouldn't have worked. It was a nice idea, but wouldn't have worked. That wasn't worth trying. The bookcase held old Catalan books. I just had a look at that old car in the garden. Looks like someone slept in it.
Me. When I returned, I couldn't bear the house at night. So, I slept in the car.
So, you have no idea what you did with the key?
All I remember is waking up in the old car.
Типа все говорит о том, что ключ где-то у машины рядом. В машине машины.
That wouldn't... A heap of old... The
Опять мы тут.
No. I needed to... It was a nice idea.
Я не помню уже, какая кнопка там.
Tin can keys. It was never going to work. The battery... The inside of the car was in a bad state. That wouldn't make... The goat had been tethered.
Не знаю.
Yes?
Are you sure you can't think of where Ramon might have hidden it?
No, and neither do I care.
Да пошла ты тогда.
Talk to you later.
Что ты тогда стоишь?
According to the sundial, it was mid-afternoonish.
Баночки.
The wind chime looked like it was made from old cans. I wondered if it was Ramon's handiwork. Despite the scrap components, the wind chime was beautiful. It was uncanny. Despite the scrap components, the wind chime was beautiful. It was uncanny. Despite the scrap components, the wind chime was beautiful. It was uncanny.
Ага, может в них ключ?
It was a nice idea, but wouldn't have worked. I could just make out the cool, dark interior. One old sardine can was bulging slightly. I fished around. There was something in it. And there it was, the key to the library.
Это все. Так, сейчас скажем, ключ нашли.
I found your key.
I thought it was lost forever.
Ramon had been true to his word. This place was like a shrine. The table had been cleared. An empty frame rested against the wall. When they left, Genad's soldiers probably took everything of value. The old armor was in pride of place. Genad clearly hadn't moved it. The trunk contained someone's personal possessions. At a guess, Genad's. I wondered what secrets they might hold. A pair of well-worn boots. The map had interesting markings and scribbles all over it. Georges would be so jealous.
So, what is this place, Senor?
It is my family's chapel.
It's not like any chapel I ever saw. Where's the altar, the crucifix, the Christian symbols? And this fresco, what's that?
How extraordinary. It tells a story. It depicts the journey of my ancestors, the Cathars, and their escape from the hilltop fortress of Montsegur with the Tabula Veritatis, from under the very noses of the soldiers of the Albigensian Crusade.
Whoa, wait a minute. Who are the Cathars? And what have they got to do with the tabula?
The Cathars were Gnostics. They lived in the south of France in the 12th century, at peace with the Jews and the Catholics of the Languedoc. They preached that men and women are equal, that God is within you, and that the Church is an obstacle to salvation. The Pope found their core beliefs abhorrent. The Cathars accused him and his Church of corruption. He condemned them as heretics. When the Pope learned that they were the guardians of the Tabula Veritatis, he conspired with the King of France and called for a holy war to wipe them out. The Albigensian Crusade was a callous, ruthless massacre. The final confrontation took place here, at Montsegur in 1244. The Crusaders believed that they had slaughtered all the heretics, but a handful managed to escape with the tabula. They traveled south across the Pyrenees along secret trails. They brought the tabula here to Catalonia to be hidden once more. Sadly, it was not the end of their trials. The Spanish Inquisition saw to that. Nevertheless, for generations, my ancestors continued to guard the secret of the tabula. So, you understand why La Maledizione is important to me. It will lead us to the tabula again, so we can keep it safe from those who wish to abuse its power.
The painting brought us up here, Senor. We need to find out why. It was a candelabrum holding a single candle. It was a large marble statue of a young man holding some sort of colored glass lens. These statues...
What of them?
They're just like the figures in the painting, and on the fireplace.
Indeed. They are the two pillars of the Gnostic faith in harmony. And the bearded one is Yahweh, Jehovah, God of the physical world. The other is known by many names. Hillel, Ishtar. He is the bearer of light, Luxfere, Lucifer.
Lucifer? So you guys are devil worshippers?
No. When he is in balance with Jehovah, Lucifer is the god of desire and ambition, driving humans to be inquisitive, to discover, to advance. Just as Jehovah, when he is in balance with Lucifer, is the god of order. Jehovah stands for selflessness and altruism. Gnostics worship the harmony of both gods in balance.
But what if one were to rule without the other?
If Jehovah ruled without Lucifer, then individuality would be surrendered. Mankind would be wholly conformist, mindlessly dependent, mere pawns of a controlling power.
And what if Lucifer ruled without Jehovah?
Ambition and desire would be transformed into unbridled greed, and man would lust only for wealth and power. Society would descend into chaos, disorder and war would prevail. Then Lucifer would be the devil indeed.
Понятно.
Marquez had told me that this statue was of Jehovah. The fresco deserved a proper examination. The fresco was surrounded by dusty inscriptions. My Latin was a little rusty, but I could still translate. Ex igne puritas, from fire, purity. Ex luce veritas, from light, truth. Ex labore sapientia, from struggle, knowledge. Cathars being burned at the stake. Cathars fleeing across the Pyrenees to escape the slaughter of the Albigensian Crusade. They seemed to be carrying something. A town of northern Catalonia. A town of northern Catalonia. A town of north. Cathars fleeing across the Pyrenees to escape the slaughter of the Albigensian Crusade. They seemed to be carrying something.
Так.
Nope, I needed to. That wasn't worth trying.
Мне кажется, такой так свет падает, то что...
That
Может
was
так?
never gonna work.
О, линза через линзу.
It was a glass wheel divided into 6 colors, and it looked like it could be rotated. Part of the lens was covered. The color changed from yellow to green. The color changed from green to turquoise. The color changed from turquoise to blue. The color changed from blue. The color changed from magenta to red.
Оба. Красная, красная.
Knights of the Albigensian Crusade. A town of
этот стеклянная линза шьем.
It was a glass wheel. Part of the lens was covered. The color changed from yellow to green. The color changed from green. The color changed from turquoise. The color changed from blue to... The color changed from magenta to red.
Ну чё?
Marquez... The color changed from red to yellow. The color changed from yellow to green. Marquez... The color changed from red to yellow.
Так, посмотрим, может третий путь какой-то еще покажет.
The color changed from green to turquoise.
Нет, 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 не канделябр.
The color changed from turquoise to blue. The color changed from yellow to green.
Что-то другая музыка.
A town of... Senor Marquez?
Yes?
Как много тебя можно спросить-то? Ладно, на этой загадке остановимся тогда. В следующем видео... Ну не в следующем, в следующей серии по сломанному мечу будет. Думаю, справимся. Все, всем спасибо, кто смотрел, всем пока, удачи.